Every man wants to be great at something, but very few dare to do the necessary work that greatness demands. Listen, my brother, if you want to level up and unleash your inner savage, the very first thing you must do is: number 1, implement the death ground strategy. The death ground strategy is a concept derived from Sun Tzu's The Art of War. What this means is leaving no room for retreat and putting everything on the line to achieve a desired outcome. It's one thing to want success. It's another thing to actually need it, because you've put everything on the line. Like ancient Vikings who would burn their boats as they approached new land, signifying that there is absolutely no going back. They were only focused on the mission and what was ahead of them. However, unlike the Middle Ages, the world we live in today has programmed us to stay complacent and to refrain from anything that could cause us a little discomfort. We live in a time of abundance. Everything we need is at the click of a button. And if anything opposes our idea of abundance, or if we ever become a little uncomfortable or frustrated, we automatically think something is wrong. It is pathetic. We think to ourselves thoughts like, if I'm not living my best, most comfortable life, well then I must be doing something wrong. But what most men don't realize is this: it's only in the moments of hardship, when you're cornered and your back is up against a wall, that you will do whatever it takes to win. Listen, to get your desired outcome, you can't just want it. You have to need it. There's an old story about a student who asks his master, "What is the secret to success?" And the master replied, "Meet me near the river tomorrow morning." The next day they met up and the master asked the student to walk with him toward the river. When the water got up to their necks, the master grabbed his student and held him underwater. And as the student struggled trying to break free of his master's grip, the master continued to overpower him and hold him down. Until finally, after a few moments, just before the student was about to pass out, the master released his grip. And as the student gasped for air, he looked toward his master in absolute terror and confusion, asking him, "Master, why did you try to drown me?" The master looked at the student right in his eyes and asked him, "What did you want the most when you were underwater?" The student replied with a simple one-word answer: "Air." The master then said, "When you want success as badly as you want air, that's when you will get it. That's the secret to success." Number 2, do more, consume less. Jim Quick once said, "The brain doesn't learn through consumption, it learns through creation." What does this mean for you? It means this: even though consuming self-improvement content such as books, videos, and social media can be useful, a man will always have the most growth through active engagement and participation. In other words, when he steps away from the books and devices and steps into the real world instead, allowing himself to learn from his own experiences and failures. So many of us are solely focused on the next best piece of life-changing advice, or the next best motivational video. And we neglect the power of stepping out and just doing, being, materializing. Learning a good lesson the hard way. Don't get me wrong, consuming self-improvement content is great. But don't forget to live your life as well. These days, so many of us are always looking for a shortcut or a hack or a new nugget of information, doing whatever we can to skip past the trials and tribulations. But we fail to realize that it's the trials and tribulations that are what truly builds us as men. It's one thing to consume content from your favorite online guru, but it's another thing to learn from your own experience. This is how you become your own man. All in all, There's a balance to learning. Yes, use the tools that authors, influencers, and mentors give you. But once you've finished consuming everything they've told you, apply it. Go out and try it. See what works and what doesn't. Don't be afraid to fall face flat, to get a bloody nose. Brother, know what it is to struggle. Don't shy away from it. Understand what some pain feels like. Remember, failure and hardship will always be your greatest teacher. This is how you build yourself and become a true savage. A wise man once said, "If you could build your own human, what would you put them through to make them tough? You probably wouldn't give them an easy life. Right? Now think about this. What would you put them through to make them more courageous? I'm sure you wouldn't make them feel comfortable all the time. Instead, you'd probably push them to face their fears. Am I right? Of course I am. And I believe this is the same way God works. Too many men sit around asking God, please, make me powerful. Make my name great. But the second they face a big whopping failure, suddenly they're crying out, oh God, why? Why me? Listen closely. The next time you ask God to make your name great, think long and hard about what you are asking Him to do. Remember, greatness is born exclusively through adversity. So if you are asking God to make you great, be ready for adversity to strike. Think about this. You cannot be great unless you've had a comeback, unless you've faced defeat and climbed all the way back to the top. That is the only way people will ever see you as great. Number 3, outside perspective. A man needs constant feedback. He needs a different outlook and evaluation on his performance at all times. This is what creates genuine improvement. The problem is that this goes against every man's innate desire. Be honest with yourself. Deep down, you don't like criticism. You don't like negative feedback, even if it's constructive. But criticism is not meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be tolerated, so you can use it as a weapon to help you reach your utmost potential as a man. Listen to me clearly. When you limit your perspective, you limit your growth. Someone else will always see something that you don't. For instance, take a moment and think of a bird. Now, what bird came to your mind? For some of you watching this, it may be a hummingbird. For some of you, an eagle or a parrot, maybe a pigeon. That is because everyone holds a different image. Everyone has their own perspective. And to have more perspective and more input, this is what will give you a leg up on your competition. But the reality is, most of us fail to do this because we attach our identity to our work. And if another man criticizes our work, we look at it as someone criticizing our identity. This can be extremely dangerous. So what must you do? You have to disconnect your work from your identity. Remember this, my brother. Whether you face major success or major failure, either way, you are great. And you have ample greatness within you. All you must do is first recognize it, harness it, nurture it, and continue to do the necessary work to build it. If you want to join the Brotherhood, please hit the subscribe button and notifications bell. Remember, brother, you were built to beast.